I hope some fans can convene and watch some games. It'll be at LCA this coming fall because the Detroit Pistons, they're putting together team time that I believe can compete, especially with what the East is starting to look like.
No doubt, man. And when you start hearing about your team on national TV, you know that they're right there. You hear about the Tigers now on national television. Matter of fact, the Sunday night baseball game that just passed, one of the highest rated Sunday night games of the year.
Yep.
They were loving it. And Comerica showed out. LCA is showing out. You saw the playoffs against the Knicks. 3 losses by 3 points or less. Heartbreaker. But this team is turning it around, guys. They are keeping the core intact. And then there's injuries to all these Eastern teams. The Knicks are in disarray. We'll tell you about them. They got a new coach. A new, quote-unquote, new coach. But this is what ESPN was talking about on Inside the NBA just yesterday.
Do you think the Pistons will be better than they were last season?
I do. There's a couple things they've got going for them. Number one, Cade Cunningham is still getting better. Yeah. Absolutely. He made third team All-NBA. He could make second or first in the future. 2, Jaden Ivey, who missed most of last season with injury. He was just getting going and starting to show his potential as a high lottery pick. He will be back healthy. And number 3, the teams in front of them, some of them unfortunately have had injuries. So they finished with the 6th seed last year. A couple of teams in front of them, Indiana, who was 4th, Boston, who was 2nd. Unfortunately, Milwaukee was 5th. All of those with the big injuries. There's some liquidity there where they can move up.
Listen, they answered a question last year. They have a star. Cade Cunningham is a star. 2 years ago, they lost 30 games in a row. They go out in the offseason, and what do? They bring in guys like Tim Hardaway. They bring in Tobias Harris. They bring in Malik Beasley. It completely changed the floor for Cade Cunningham, and now you go out and you add a Duncan Robinson to the mix as well. Cade Cunningham is the real deal. I don't think anybody in this league is questioning that. Watch out for the Detroit Pistons. This has now become one of my favorite teams in the league.
Losing that many games in a row, not everyone can just turn it around from there. Mentally, I remember talking to Kate about it on NBA Today, the ability to be able to say this stinks and we want to do something about it. Because sometimes you start to go out on the floor and that's what you expect. And this is a team that came together and was able to turn around and change their identity. And now they really have something to fight for in an Eastern Conference that has so many question marks surrounding it. They're going to be fun to watch.
Hey, man, they echo what we've been saying, and that's Brian Windhorst. You know him. Tim Legler, you know Legs, and Malika Andrews, who's the host of a lot of NBA shows on the league here. So people are buying into this team. Last year they finished 6th, right? They were the 6th seed. They could be a top 3 seed in the NBA Eastern Conference this year. They could win a series this time. I'm pretty sure of that.
No, they definitely could win a series, and I think it's for all the reasons. I always hate when the national, analyst starts to take your team's side because then it's kind of like they're no longer your team. Kind of happened with the Detroit Lions in 23. Everybody was on after the 9-8 year. But at the same time, it also lets you know that you're right about this team. Jaden Ivey is the big piece. Anthony, you talk about that a lot. Everybody was so willing to use that, including myself. Maybe this is a trade piece. Maybe this is somebody that you move. You use a young talent and what he showed last year. It made sense to keep him, and that's what they've done. This Pistons team, especially with what this East looks like, this Pistons team could be just as hot as the Lions were in 23.
They call this era or this generation the TikTok generation because they don't have more than 90 seconds of attention span. And I think that comes into play with the eagerness that most people have to make these blockbuster deals, where outside of Matt Stafford, we just don't see them really work out. I'm glad that the Pistons held strong. I'm glad that they had belief in this young core the way that I do. I want to take you guys back to 23-24. And I know a lot of you weren't watching, but I was. And that team took so much crap nationally, took so many losses, 30 in a row, and they looked just absolutely defeated. And when you see a team go through a season like that, wearing it on their sleeve the way they were, you expect things to get shaken up. You expect them to kind of come in and be malcontents and people not want to be there. But we saw the exact opposite out of this team. And a very, very young team, mind you. Not guys that have been around for a long time. Sure, they brought in some veterans. But the core guys that turned it around, that had the belief in themselves, the rest of the league better watch out because they're not coming in saying, I know we can be a good team. I know that we've got the pieces here. They did it this last year. They shocked the NBA. and the rest of the sporting world doing what they did. This year, they're coming in with a completely different mental edge. And they've already proven that despite all being under 25, that core, they believe in themselves. They believe in this city, and they love playing for Detroit. And it has been so damn long since we've had that for the Pistons. I just absolutely love it. We traded it away in Chauncey. We lost it when Ben signed in Chicago. We have not had it for 15 years. Every single guy here loves the jersey they wear, and that's the only thing that you can ask for as a Detroit Pistons fan. But like Leg said, this is one of the coolest, most enjoyable young teams to watch because they play the right way. They leave it all out there for 48 minutes. They defend. And for the first time in my life as a Pistons fan, we got high flyers. I mean, we got 4 or 5 guys that can just dunk and just drop it on you at any point in the game.
It does just feel like, the Detroit Pistons have always had, like, the bare minimum as it relates to the athletic.
Yes.
Like, outside of
Grant Hill was like, what are you doing here?
I was just about to say, outside of Grant and Stack. Stack, but to that point, you're absolutely right. It's like, man, why can't we get the guys to jump? Insert Jaden Ivey, insert Marcus Sasser, insert
Duran, man.
Jalen Duran, insert Sar Thompson. Athletic, him and his brother Amon might be like
Freaks.
Short list
Pure freaks,
top
man.
athletic individuals in the league. No, but Ricky and Pete bringing you in this conversation. How much of what Detroit is doing as a city, it's predicated on the example is the Detroit Lions. Because we have friends, we know that front offices are talking because look at how the Pistons are now running it. Look how the Tigers are now running it. Very similar to what the Lions are doing. Look at the energy in the locker room. Very similar to what the Lions started. Now you saw what the Tigers did last year. Because if I'm the Pistons, I'm looking at the Tigers last year. I want some of that energy. How do we get that? Like, do you think that that's a match? This city is kind of emitting this energy.
Well, obviously, I mean, we just talked about, when you bash on our city. Look what happened with Alex Bregman. I mean, we all come together when people bash our city and all that sort of stuff. Winning is very, very contagious, as you know, Braylon Edwards and Anson Wells and all of our fans out there and Maz and Ricky. You guys know winning is all contagious. And when you win correctly, win the right way, as Larry Brown used to say, then others are going to come along for the ride. The Lions are proving the point that if they can win, then anybody can win. It's great to see the city come together, but having good leadership like Trajan Langdon as GM for the Pistons, this is the type of guy that you need. I mean, you can call for floor generals like Cade Cunningham and any leader like Isaiah Thomas or Joe Dumars on the floor, but you need to have a good GM. And one of the keys to building good, solid, winning teams are leaders in the front office, and Trajan Langdon is really proving that he's a leader because, Anson, I agree with you with how he's building the team because it's just he's going to do this slowly but surely. He's going to do it the Trajan Langdon way. He comes to the microphone. We have to turn the volume up when he speaks because he's cool, calm, and collected. He's running the Pistons the exact same way. I think that patience is a virtue, but we need to win now. And